Hello everyone. Welcome you all to the session of Banking and Financial Services class. I am Impa Belyappa, Associate Professor, Department of Management Sciences, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Previously, we have discussed Unit 1, which includes the structure of banking in India, functions of RBI, structure and functions of commercial banks, monetary system, sources of funds, quantitative and qualitative measures of credit control, banking sector reforms, banking performance analysis, and future of banking. This is what we have discussed about Unit 1. And in today's class, we will be starting Unit 2, that is the banking technology. It includes all, where it includes the structure and functions of commercial banks, and it also includes the functions of commercial banks, which we have, and the services rendered. That all will be covered by Manoj sir. And the next topic in second unit, that is banking technology. Okay, in this module, I'll be covering banking. In today's class, I'll be covering banking technology, universal banking, home banking, and ATM services. So, start with the banking technology. Let's know the meaning of banking technology. What do you mean by banking technology, and what is new in the banking technology of the current scenario? In the recent years, RBI endured a lot of improvement activities to increase the efficiency of the financial system by ensuring the presence of safety, security, and effective payment and settlement system. In this process, apart from performing the regulatory and oversight functions, RBI has also played an important role in promoting the system functionality and modernization of the ongoing basis. So, there is a lot of new technology which is being added up in 2020. So, banking technology, in the sense, the innovative technology which increases the speed, efficiency, and also the security of the clients or customers. To have a look on these banking technology, we'll discuss some of the important or major banking technologies or current trends coming in this year. So, first one is augmented reality. Augmented reality. This is a rich data augmented application for their customers who are looking to buy or sell homes. It provides them the information like current listing, recent sales, price tendencies to help the customers make their better decision. So, those customers who are willing to purchase home, to know the right sale and purchase, it might be the sale or it might be the purchase. The customers who are looking for home sales or home purchase, the augmented reality application gives you the details of what are the current trends, current listing, buying and selling prices. This helps the customers to have a cross check on the prices and to make a better decision. Another banking technology which is coming in the recent years, which is already pertaining actually, blockchain. So, this is a multiple parties to access the same data simultaneously. So, if any of the party want to access the same data, then if one person accesses it, almost restrict the other person to log in. So, by using the blockchain technology, it enables in order to access the same data simultaneously. So, this ensures integrity and immunity of records entered in the database. The third type of banking technology is robotic process automation. So, the name itself is telling you that it is robotic. So, this made bankers to realize the need of finding new technology without any human interaction. By just mimicking the human action and judgment, the process is being made. This increases speed, scale and quality. Okay, so robotics, the speed has been made to enhanced. Okay, the fourth technology which is coming up is quantum computing. So, quantum computing is and quantum mechanics to work out complex data operations. So, whatever complex data you have in your database, to work out that with the bits of -1 and 0, that we call it as quantum bits, that can, instead of 3 states of -1, 0 or both, these states can be used to quantify or simplify the work of complex data. So complex data is being simplified by using this quantum bits. The next is artificial intelligence, the current trend which is very much in boom. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence allow banks to use large historical data, that is the past data, that can capture and make much better decisions across various functions, including back office operations, customer experience, marketing, product delivery, risk management and compliance. So all these things can be easily done using artificial intelligence. So using artificial intelligence helps you out with simplifying the data and concising the large data into smaller portions. Okay. The other application is application programming interface platform. We commonly call it as APIs. So application programming interface platform means it helps you to designate the work through APIs and sit between the banker's back-end execution and front-end experience that provides either the bank to the bank itself or to the third party. So it is acting like a intermediary between the back-end execution and the front-end experience. The next is prescriptive security. So banks are developing advanced analytical real-time monitoring or AIs to detect, that is artificial intelligence, to detect threats and stop them from disrupting the system. So big data is an such a platform that helps you in this, where advanced analytical and real-time monitoring can be made. The next kind of technology is hybrid cloud. So this allows them to pick benefits both from private and public while addressing issues like data security, governance and compliance, along with the ability to mobilize large resources in a matter of minutes. If large quantum of resources are there, it helps you to mobilize within a few minutes. That is through hybrid clouding. This helps, hybrid clouding helps you to do that. The next technology is instant payments. The name itself tells you the payments are made in instants, provides the customer options for paying the amount quickly. Okay, even though there is infrastructure lacking, there is no proper technology or the network issues, even in spite of all these, Insta payment helps you to make the payments quickly. Okay, the last technology is smart machines. Smart machines that machines do it smartly, that is smart machines, where customers will gravitate towards the banks at the earliest to work. It makes your work quick, easy using the banking technologies. So these are certain tools which helps you out to make the banking services quick, easy, flexible and secure. Okay, so to glance upon, we'll glance it upon at the end. Okay, this was about the banking technology. Next is universal banking. You know what is this type of banking, but maybe the term which is coined, that is universal banking, you might not be familiar with. Universal banking is defined as a banking system that offers a wide range of banking and financial services, like it provides insurance, it might provide development banking facilities, it provides investment banking facilities, it provides commercial banking facilities and other financial services in compared to the traditional banking. Normally, traditional banking was limited to one particular category, where it was only accepting the deposits and or savings or giving out the loans. The traditional banking concept was only limited to that. But in today's scenario, as people are getting educated, knowledgeable, the banks have also started up come up with a lot of variety of services provided at one point. Okay, like if you go to a bank, you can avail insurance. Okay, you can take venture capital from there. You can invest in portfolios, and also along with that, the regular ones where you deposit or make investment, savings or take loans. All these functions are in general when compared to the traditional banking. And merchant banking facilities are available, underwriting facilities are available. All these are the different facilities available in universal banking, where all the facilities are available under one roof. In simple terms, to be understood, it's a combination of three services: retail banking, investment banking, and wholesale banking. So the system offers services like asset management, deposit, payment processing, investment advisory, underwriting, security transactions, financial analysis, merchant banking, factoring, mutual funds, credit cards, auto loans, insurance, housing finance, retail loans, etc. What not and what all. It includes almost all the services provided by different financial service providers. So that we call it as universal banking. So this universal banking, let's look on to the advantages and disadvantages of this universal banking. Because it is common that any system introduced, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So if you utilize it in an advantageous way, then it turns out to be advantages. But if you concentrate more towards its disadvantages, you find loopholes in each and every system. So coming to the advantages of universal banking, it builds investors' trust. So if you're providing all the services under one roof, it is obvious that people will tend to move towards you, and a customer and service provider relationship can be built. So universal banks hold stakes in almost all the companies, and this is because investors have full confidence and faith in universal banks. It is not that you are doing only one particular kind of business and that business fails and you just shut your bank. It's not like that. You are providing more services, so one or the other, it's like a building of a diversified portfolio. Wherever you make an investment in 2 or 3 avenues, even though you incur loss in any one, the other one will compensate the other. Okay, this is one of the advantage. Another advantage is your economics of scale. Economics of scale is where with the same cost, okay, you are trying to give more productivity. That is the actual meaning of economics of scale. This results in economic efficiency, where it results in lower cost, high output, and better performance and services. These are the important things in order to keep an organization running for more number of years, because as you all know, the fixed cost and variable cost, the fixed cost is always constant. So when you try to reduce your fixed cost, automatically this increases your profit, which in turn increases the efficiency and output of the organization. So if banks are concentrating on universal banking, with the same cost, the other services can also be managed. In detail, I'll tell you. The next is resource utilization. Resource utilization in banks, it might be the client's database or the client's ability to take the risk. In universal banking, the client's money in different types of mutual funds and directed it to the share market. That is resource utilization. So whatever funds you have it in the banks, you channelized it to the mutual funds, which in turn will earn you the income. That is resource mobilization. Then portfolio profitable diversifications. So as I've already told in the economics of scale, you're trying and managing your day-to-day expenses. So in turn, your profit will increase. It might be the rent, it might be the salary which you provide to the employees, or you by diversifying the activities with the same amount of salary, they are doing all the activities of that particular banking services. So if you are hiring a financial expert also, he is going to give you advice based on all the ventures of that particular bank. This saves you the cost and time as well. And another advantage is easy marketing. Easy marketing in the sense, when you approach a bank for a service, they also brief you about the insurance beside. So you will slightly be motivated and take the insurance along. So it's easy. Once the customer gets in, it's easy for the bankers to hold on to the customer and tell him everything about the service. So this will help the customer to even know about the other services provided by the bank. And also a kind of marketing is done by the bank where you need not hold on to the customer individually for each service. Once he gets in, you can brief out all the services which has been provided in the bank. And also an advantage of one-stop shopping. One-stop shopping means it is all the services are provided under one roof. If you go into that bank, you can avail loans, you can get an insurance, you can make your investment, you can get other financial services of merchant banking or underwriting facility. You get all the services under one roof. So this reduces your time as well as your transaction cost, and also the banks will be profited from this. Okay, these are some of the advantages. And coming to the disadvantages, obviously when there are advantages, disadvantages are to be there. When we speak about the disadvantages of universal banking, the first disadvantage is different rules and regulations. So it might be the home banking, it might be the mobile banking, it might be the loan section, it might be the mutual funds. Each one has its own rules and regulations, which is not common for all. So you need to keep track of all the rules and regulations. Scheme will be different, and it might create for problems or confusions. Okay, that is different rules and regulations. And then effect of failure on banking system. So here what happens, in case the universal banks are the larger banks, if they don't do well, what happens then? It will be a big issue which needs to be made, and it will have a direct impact on the banking system, and the people's confidence will also come down. For example, if I have to tell you about the Lehman Brothers, very famous, the Lehman Brothers of USA, the entire banking system was affected due to that. Okay, this is another disadvantage. And one more is a monopoly. Okay, when universal banking concept is spoke on, then there are many harmful effects also due to this monopoly. They have these capturing of customers. When they capture more customers, then it creates a monopoly. Whatever services they provide or whatever pricing they fix, that are more concentrated, and this will hinder the economic development. Another disadvantage is conflict of interest. So conflict of interest in the sense, if you are concentrating on investment banking, the regular activities of the banking will come down, or else the development bank's activities come down. It is like you're putting your leg in two boats. You can't sail on two boats at the same time. It happens with the concept of universal banking. If you concentrate on one particular function of the banks, that will raise to the conflict of interest of the another, where they'll not feel that important. Okay, this is about the universal banking. The next concept we are discussing on is the home banking. These are all very simple concepts and important concepts. Home banking, the name itself is telling you the banking done from home. Home banking is a practice of conducting banking transactions from home rather than visiting the branch location. It refers to the mobile banking, web banking, banking over telephone, or banking via mail. The first experiment was done in 1980s, but it is currently booming, as the internet facility which is provided in 1990 is very much the fast internet facility which has been provided. Due to that, this is very much in existence. And due to the pandemic situation, as of we know about the corona, right? So it is not that you cannot go to the banks or nothing like that, but to avoid that, it's better you sit at home and do all kinds of transactions which you could have gone to the bank and done. So this home banking helps us to be safe and helps us in social distancing. Okay, coming to the types of banking, I told you 4 types of banking while explaining the definition. The 4 types of banking are mobile banking, web banking, banking over telephone, and banking by mail. To discuss with the mobile banking, again the name itself is telling mobile banking, banking via mobile. So banking via mobile, if you want to check your balances, if you have to make fund transfers, all these can be done by using mobile banking. So mobile apps are available where the user will download the mobile app, that is the bank's app is downloaded in the mobile, and once it is downloaded in the mobile, you function it, you transfer the fund, check the balances, all that can be made using the mobile banking. But the thing is, again, advantages and disadvantages are there. There are certain security issues related to mobile banking, but the advantage is there is no paper checks. Like when you go to a bank, if you approach the banker, then obviously once he'll tell you the balance of, if you details, give you the details or transaction details. But if you again have to ask him, he'll also get pissed off, and he might start arguing with you. That leads to the conflict. But in mobile banking, how many times you want to check your balance or any other paper checks you need to do, it can be easily done. Okay, that is the advantage of mobile banking. The next is web banking. So web banking is via internet. So via internet means you can access your bank's portal using internet. Check accounts, savings accounts or transfer funds, all can be done. It is available to individuals as well as for the business people. But the disadvantage is you should always have the internet connection in order to avail the web banking. Okay, it might be for mobile banking, web banking, all. You have to have the internet connection. That is the major drawback or disadvantage. Advantages is save times, save money because you need not travel to the branch location. These are some of the advantages. Coming to the third type, that is banking over the telephone. So banking over the telephone, this was prevailing earlier. Now it is how it is different from mobile banking. Mobile banking, through apps, you just access your bank's website and you do the through banking apps, you just transact the you make the transactions. That is mobile banking. But banking over telephone is you just call and make these services happen. So where automated system, this was earlierly present, automated system for availing the account balances, just by typing star 123 as you get the phone balances. In the same way, you have a particular code through which through your phones, if you just type and send, they'll send you the account balances. That can happen. So this will also restrict the suspicious looking transactions by the customers. That is banking over the telephone. And then banking by mail. Banking by mail is you get the mail access in order to do the banking transactions. People who usually do their banking in person, for them banking by mail is easy. Okay, where they does not introduce any cyber security. There is no cyber crimes which are happening with the banking by mail. So risk is less. When comparatively, web banking and mobile banking are used in a wide range, whereas telephone banking and mail banking, it is of less importance and people don't do that much. Okay, these were the different types of home banking. Coming to the advantages and disadvantages as a whole, the advantage of home banking is it saves time. Okay, it reduces the physical risk. Saves time in the sense you need not go to the bank, stand in long queues, wait for your turn, run from counter to counter. So obviously your time is reduced. No, suppose if you are working, it's very difficult to take a CL or take a leave, or in order to take permission to go to bank and come back. That's not there. You can sit at your place, just open the app or website, log in, do whatever transaction you have to make. Immediately the cash will be transferred from one account to another account within few minutes. Okay, so that is saving your time, reducing physical balance, the stress of taking the permission, riding your vehicle, approaching the bank, finishing the work there, again coming back to your workplace. That kind of physical and mental strength won't be there if you are using home banking. And financial transactions can be completed often in few minutes. If you're going to the bank, going is if it's nearby 10 to 15 minutes, then you have to fill the forms there, give it to the counter person, long queues will be there. After once your turn comes, you give that, he passes on to the next, then the transfer happens. Minimum time of transfer takes 1 hour. Okay, the whole process, going, filling, giving it to the banker, he doing the transfer via interface, then you getting in SMS, whole total process you can say that it might take 1 hour. But just by opening an app, transferring the money to another account, by rightly filling it, takes 10 minutes. So within 10 minutes, your fund has been transferred. That is an advantage of home banking. Then no waiting up in long queues where as of current situation of social distancing, that concept is turned to be advantageous. Coming to the disadvantages. Advantages are there, obviously disadvantages will also be there. Security threats. So mobiles will be hacked, your IP codes will be hacked. All these hacking and insecurity will make your account insecure and make you insecure about the financial transactions via mobile or web. Another is online services. You need internet. Without internet, you cannot do the mobile banking or web banking. That is another major disadvantage. And yeah, all the information will be there at your fingertips, account number, then recent transactions. So all these can be, the hackers will use it for their benefit. There is no cyber security. Cyber crimes are increasing due to this modernized technologies. So these are some of the disadvantages of home banking. The next concept we are going to discuss is the ATMs. So as of now we have discussed banking technology, universal banking and home banking. The last topic which we'll be discussing is ATMs. So ATM means automated teller machine. So automated teller machine or automatic banking machine, we call it by different names. It is a computerized telecommunication device that provides the client a financial institution with access to the financial transactions in a public space without the need of a cashier, human clerk or the bank teller. Okay. Normally, what does an ATM do? We find ATMs in each road, each cross. There are n number of ATMs of different banks in a country. Okay. So when we have to say automated teller machine, normally the process in traditional banking was you need to go to the bank, then you need to take the token number, you have to wait for your turn, take the challan if it's a simple deposit or withdrawal. Okay, you have to take the challan, fill the challan, okay, wait until your token number comes, approach the cashier. Now the cashier will see, cross check what you have filled. Once he finds it right, then he counts the cash, gives you the amount. That was a regular process. Now you go to any ATM, you have your ATM card, just swipe it on, you put your PIN, transaction PIN, the security PIN, withdraw amount or deposit amount, put it in your pocket and go. Simple as that. So that is all the work of the human clerk, cashier or the bank teller is reduced by one machine, which is automated teller machine or ATM, through the telecommunication. It's a telecommunication device which provides the client and financial service or financial transaction without any too many people crowding in the banks for the purpose of deposit or savings. In our most modern ATMs, the security is kept in mind, where a plastic ATM card will be there with the magnetic strip. I'll tell you the components later, but a magnetic strip will be there. It's a plastic smart card with a chip in it which reads the details of the customers. You have for the security of CVV, or authentication is provided for the customer for entering the PIN facilities. Okay, so if there are advantages also, there are disadvantages, but the major advantage is if you are a foreign traveler, okay, or else the foreigners come into your country for traveling, and if they need cash and if they withdraw it through ATMs, then you get the different your bank accounts are there. For example, if your bank account is, if a Japanese is coming to India for traveling, or if a Japanese is going to America, or an American is coming to Japan. We'll take one example among these. If an American is coming to Japan for traveling purpose, okay, now he needs yen for the purpose of transacting. Now he goes to an ATM, withdraws the cash. What he gets yen, whereas in his account it is US dollars. So the exchange rate, when it is converted, they converted it into wholesale exchange rate. So the best possible exchange rate has been given to the foreign traveler, which is an advantage for the foreign traveler. This advantage is not that much discussed of. Okay, and then ATMs are known as in different names in different countries, like automated transaction machine, automated banking machine, cash points. These are the common names used in Britain. Money machine, bank machine, cash machine, hole in the wall, bankomat. These are the names which we normally use in European countries and Russian countries. Multi-bank is a term which we use in Portugal, and in India the very famous term all-time money. So anytime you go swipe card in the ATM, it is easy cash is available, you get the fund, so that we call it as all-time money. So anytime you get the money. So coming to the advantages and disadvantages of ATMs, let's see the advantages of ATMs. In ATM, you can withdraw the money, you can deposit the money, and in certain ATMs, that is the recent trends where in Canara Bank and all, you can also print the passbooks of your account. Okay, that facility is also available. So the major ones is we normally use it for withdrawing. Deposit also we rarely do it. Okay, and we also do it for the purpose of taking mini statements, and also for checking your balances. Okay, in mini statement you get the last transactions, last 5 or 6 transactions, and in checking your balance you can check how much amount is there in your account. And another advantage is it's just 24/7 365 days, unless there is no cash in the ATM. Okay, so 7 days a week and 24 hours a day and 365 days in a year, all days you can access your account through ATMs. That's another advantage. And another advantage is access to the bank throughout the world. Any part of the world you go, you can deposit the money, withdraw the money, transfer the fund. So you can access it worldwide. That is an advantage. And expansion of services to the any corner of the world, where banks can expand their services. Like if the bank prevails in India, then they can set up their ATMs abroad. So anywhere you can expand your banking services, and also importantly, the use of the card for shopping. So you need to go to a mall or a restaurant, you have not carried cash, then after having your dinner or lunch in a hotel, you can swipe your ATM card, make the payment, or you go to a mall or do some shopping there, so that can be made. Bills can be paid through your ATM cards. So these are certain advantages of ATM cards. But as we say, advantages comes along with the disadvantages. So to see the disadvantages, if your card doesn't work, then you cannot withdraw cash. To imagine, if there is a situation where you have gone for shopping, you have shopped the dress, or you have shopped something, now you need to make the payment, and if it is slightly, the card is not, it is slightly tampered. So if you are going and swiping your card, doesn't work, or it is not connecting to the bank server, you are trying but it is not able to execute the order, you don't have so much of cash to pay, that brings in a problem, because you have relied on your card and you have shopped, but now you don't have cash, your card is not working. That will lead to a real embarrassment. Okay, then if someone watches or fakes your card, see, now it is very much trend that in Facebooks and YouTube you find n number of videos related to the hacking of cards, or taking out the information of your card, preparing a duplicate card, they take out your money, they make such arrangements in the ATM where when you put your card and pin, the money will not, it will not pop out. Whereas when you leave the ATMs and they come and make some adjustment with which the money comes out. So it is showing in your account, it is reflecting in your account that the money is withdrawn. But in reality, you have not withdrawn the amount. It is someone else who have taken the advantage of the technology. So that might happen. And then the rural people, in rural areas, the people are unaware of its usage. Maybe they will not have the knowledge of using it. As they don't have the knowledge of using it, the advantage will be converted as the disadvantage. They'll take someone's help. The person who is helping out them may not be a good person who you can rely on. That is another disadvantage. Then there is limitation in the cash withdrawals. Some banks it is 25,000, some banks it is 40,000 in a day, or weekly wise. There are restrictions depending on the banks, and also whenever you transact with the ATMs of your bank account, the same ATMs of your bank account where you hold a bank account, then the charges will be free. But if you are transacting it in another bank's ATM, then they levy fees for that. Okay, that is another disadvantage, and limitations are there. You cannot draw much. That is also an disadvantage. Then cash deposit facility is not safe. You put it in an envelope and drop your cash into it, which is not that safe. So people do it rarely. Okay. Then possibility of misuse of ATM cards, as I'm already told, they might take out the information, if especially if it's lost and misplaced. To tell you an example, if some people think that they might forget the password, that's the reason in the ATM card behind they write the pin and keep. So if the card is lost, the person who gets the card is in most advantageous position, so that it's easy for him. He need not crack the pin, easily it is available in the card. He makes use of it and draws all the cash. That turns out to be a disadvantage to the account holder. So this might be the misuse, or if it is lost or stolen, it might be misused. That is another disadvantage. Another disadvantage is loss of personal touch with the bankers. See, when you go regularly to the bank, the bonding will be strong. You meet them, you greet them, you avail the services, that human connectivity will be there. Whereas when you sit at home and transact, that human interface is not there. Sometimes what happens, you have not withdrawn the money from the ATM, but you get a message that the amount is debited from your account. So you get panicked. So obviously you have to run to the branch. So such kind of problems cannot be tackled by using home banking, or that kind of connectivity will not be there in home banking. So in ATMs, that is the major disadvantage. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of ATMs. So components of ATM card, there are different kinds of ATM cards. Here I have two cards, where one is of SBI and another one is Karnataka Gramina Bank. So there are two cards. So what are the components in these two cards? You have, first I'll show you a card. Okay, first you have your bank's name. Okay, then you have your card number. In detail I'll not show. Okay, bank card number. Then you have your account holder's name. This is the front portion of the card, and then you have a smart chip like this. You have a chip, and you have expiration date on the card, and then you have this. See, this is payment network. So the same applies with another card, where you have bank name, then you have card number, then you have validity date, then you have payment network, then the card holder's name. This might differ from bank to bank, but these are the general information which will be present. And coming to the back side of the card, that was the details which is be present in the front side. Coming to the back side card, you have the magnetic strip in it, and then you have the hologram. Hologram is a unique hologram will be present, that is unique picture. I'll tell you what is it later. Hologram present. Then you have the bank details at the bottom. So bottom of the card you have the bank details, and then you have a signature area. On the magnetic white strip you need to sign. Okay, that is the sorry, not on the magnetic strip. Below the magnetic strip you have a white strip over there where you have to sign, and there will be 4 numbers present, which is the end of your card. That is, ending 4 numbers of your card will be present in your white slip, and also you will be having the security code, which we call it as CVV, the last 3 digits. There will be a combination of 4 digits and 3 digits. If it's 7 digits, then 4 are your account number and card number, that is card number, sorry, and the last CVV is the last 3 numbers, that is the security code. And also at the end you have network logos in case you have a supplementary network which need to be done, then that we call it as network logo. So what does the smart chip do? It's simple to tell. Whereas the first one, banking branding, if it's Canara Bank, if it's State Bank, or if it's Karnataka Gramina Bank, on the top you will get to draw it. If it's if the card is like this, then you get the bank name here or here. It's either the right or left, either of the side you will have the bank name, and then in between you will have the card number. So this will be a card number. So bank name is Canara Bank or Vijaya Bank or whichever bank name is there, that is there. And card number, if I have to tell you, so card number is the number provided by the bankers, but the card number will range from 14 to 19 numbers depending on the banks, but regularly they have 16 numbers for. Okay, then you have card holder's name. Okay, in whichever name the account is opened, in that name the card holder will be there, and here will be the network payment. Okay, you will have expiry dates here. Some have only expiry dates, some have validity date, that is from to. Both will be there, validity date. And sometimes smart chip will be in front, sometimes it will be at the back also. These are the details. What does it smart chip do? Smart chip is like a tiny metal process which makes the card secure. Okay, it's a where the thieves cannot steal. Okay, the card number. Okay, that chip makes your card secure. And what does this payment network logo does? If it's like a Visa card, MasterCard or Discover card, whichever kinds of card is there, that will be mentioned in the payment network logo. Okay, and yeah, behind the card, if it is the back side of the card, so you have the magnetic strip. Here a black color strip will be there, that is called the magnetic strip, and then you have an white area here where you are going to do the signature, you are going to sign here. Then you have your CVV number here. Okay, then you have bank's contact information. So whatever information is there, bank's contact information will be there. So additional network logos, if it is there, it will be at the back. Okay, these are the and your hologram, importantly, a shining kind of thing, hologram. This side or this side, sometimes it differs with the bank. This is the hologram. This is how the back side you get. Whereas magnetic strip, here it contains the information of your card. Where what happens when you go for shopping and all, they just swipe your card like this, and whenever you make a payment, that magnetic strip will contain your card number, expiry name, expiry date, name and other details. This magnetic strip will contain. So whenever you swipe like this, immediately the information will be transformed from your card to their device. That is the important. They need not to type what is the name of a card holder, what is the expiration date. They did not type it. It is be readily available in the magnetic strip. And the importance of this hologram. Sometimes it is like a mirror-like area where it shines, showing it's a three-dimensional image. It seems to move as you change your view. When you change the view or angle of your card, it changes its view too. This hologram is unique and it is very difficult to fake, and the technology is constantly improving and making it better. So normally it will be sometimes it will be in the front of the card, sometimes it will be in the back side of the card. Okay, then I have told you about the CVV. CVV means card verification value, or you can also call it as card verification code. Okay, and this is a security code. Whenever you make the payment, they normally use it. It differs from the type of the card. In Visa, MasterCard or Discovery card, it will be 3-digit codes. Okay, 3-digit code. Whereas in the other cards like American Express and all, they have 4-digit cards. Okay, and preceding the CVV code, if you have any 4 digits, that is preceding before the CVV code will normally be 3. Before that, if you have any 4 digits number, then that is the card number. Okay, that is related to security codes. And network logos I have told you. So if you need any additional network logos, or apart from the ATMs of this particular bank, if this is the bank card of SBI, apart from SBI ATMs, if any other ATMs if you use and the service is free, then they mention in additional network logos. For example, now Karnataka Gramina Bank is a part of Canara Bank. So if they allow them to use it in Canara for free service, then their name will be mentioned at the additional network logo. Okay, so this is about the ATMs. So in today's class, we have discussed the banking technology, where we have discussed about technology, the new technologies which are coming, which is blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotic, APIs. All these are the new technologies which are coming in. Then we discussed universal banking. Universal banking is a combination of where insurance is available, investment is available, then development activities are available along with the commercial banking activities. SBI is a very good example for this, where they have SBI life insurance and the regular activities of SBI too. Then advantages of universal banking at one stop point, but disadvantage is they can't concentrate on too many things at the same time. Then you have the home banking. In home banking, you use your homes as or the place where you are there as for the banking purpose. You may not visit the branch location for any kind of banking services. Advantages are there, disadvantages are there. Advantages are like you can make available of the facilities within very less time, and cost will also be reduced. But the thing is, if you are availing the services, then services charges will be levied, and the connectivity between the people will not be there, and you need internet facilities. And types we learned: mobile, web, which is normally used, then telephone and mail. And then we discussed about the ATMs, that is automated teller machine, which is very famously called in India as all-time money. So advantages and disadvantages are there, where the advantages is you can withdraw the cash easily, and you can deposit also. Then it is wherever you want you can access. Exchange rate will be the wholesale exchange rate which has been provided. Disadvantages are also there. When we say disadvantages, security is not there. Okay, chances of hacking it, or if the card is folded a bit also, then you cannot access your account. These are some of the disadvantages. This concludes today's class. So let's meet in another session of Unit 2. Thank you.